Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Learn to code Roblox games. That is our goal. So if you're new to scripting, then this is the video series for you. In the last video, we looked at variables and what they do, and we're going to continue with that today and then look at functions. So let's get straight into it. We're going to click on a base plate, and this is going to be pretty cool because functions are basically the core of your programming and allow you to do a lot of things, but keep it just in one function. So that means that you're only doing things once in your code and you can just reuse that function, and that makes for a lot easier to edit. It makes your code a lot easier to edit because you've only got one function to edit if that kind of thing has a problem. So we're going to need a script. I'll slow down a little bit so we can go slow. This is a new sort of for new people learning, so I'll just slow down a little bit. So we are doing server script service. We're going to click on the plus and then click on script. Okay, and like in the last video, it's got this print world, and just to recap, that print statement that just prints out onto the output screen just to tell you what the program's doing, and that's really useful for when you're troubleshooting and creating a code. So let me just zoom this out a bit. Okay, so variables. Remember in the last video we did a variable pet name equals dog, and so this is the variable pet name, and it's storing dog. We've made it equal to dog. Oh, so that means dog is getting saved in memory, in the computer's memory, and we can refer to that by using this variable called pet name. Okay, and so what we're going to do today is we're going to just grab a part. So I'm just going to click on part up in the toolbox, or not toolbox, up in this menu up here. So that's put a part on the screen. Okay, we're going to use our script to change some things on this part. And we're going to need a variable for that because we can actually store objects, which is things like a part, into a variable. Okay, so let's have a look at how we can do that. So I'll just get rid of this local pet name for now. We'll just go local part name equals, oh, not part name, sorry. Local part, let's call it local my part equals, and we need to find the part that we just put on basically the workspace, right? And to do that in Roblox, we type game dot workspace dot and then find whatever the thing was we put there. So part. Okay, and that's going to find that part for us. And now what we've done is we've saved that part into our variable. So you can see already how that's very useful, because now with our variable, we can then refer to that in our scripts and change anything we like with this part. So what kind of things can we change? Well, let's have a look. If we click on part, and down in this properties menu, or properties section, we can see all these things that we can change. So we can change the brick color, cast shadow, we can turn that on or off, color, material, all of that. So let's start with the color. So my part equals, well, that's not going to work. I've got to tell it what I want to change. So my part dot color equals, and I'm going to use this color 3, and if you put a dot, you get to choose from RGB. And so RGB is basically your computer code for a color. So I'm just trying to show you an example. More colors. Okay, so if you can see that RGB is this red, green, blue, these values here. Okay, so if I want like a red, then I need 255, 0, 0. Okay, so in here, 255, 0, 0, and you just separate it by a comma, and you can see it's telling you there what you need to do. So number R for red, comma, number G for green, comma, and then number B for blue. So you put your number, your red value there, and then the green value, and then the blue value. And if we play that, that should give us a red part. That should change that part to red. Yeah, there you go. And you can see if we open the workspace now and click on that part, it has changed the brick color and the color to red. So both of those are kind of connected. Okay, so let's stop that. What else can we change? Let's have a look. So using our variable again, now that we've got that saved as a variable, we can change anything we like. So material equals, let's see what we can change. So if I click over here, we can change it to grass. Let's try that. Or what's going to stand out the most? Maybe a brick. Let's change it to a brick. Brick, no, it's not going to accept that. I'd say it probably has to be in the commas. Let's try it. Yeah, there you go. So let's change it to a brick. Okay. All right, so we can change a lot of things here. So what we're going to do now is talk about functions. Okay, and how we can use a function. So a function is basically a block of code that allows you to do the same thing whenever you call that function. So you might want to calculate something. You might want to add two numbers together. That would probably be the best example of a function actually. So let's do that to start with. So we start off by a local function. It's a local, and we use the keyword function, and then we need to give it a name. So I'm going to say add two numbers, and then we need to give it these parentheses, and if we hit enter, it's going to add this end. So this is our block of code. Okay, so at the moment, like I said in the last video, before we start writing a heap of code, let's just print something out and see if it works. Okay, so I'm going to say, hello, I'm inside the function. Okay, if I run that, it's actually not going to print that. And do you know why? Have a think and see if you can work out why that hasn't printed. So with a function, it will only ever run this code when you call the function. And we didn't call this function yet. All we did is set it up. So to call the function, I just need to then do this. So I type the function name and the two parentheses, and that's it. And then I hit play. And now it says, hello, I'm inside the function. So that's great. So that's what you need to do straight away. Is you test to see if you can get inside the function. Now we know that we've got a function that we can call, and we can do something inside this function. Okay, so for example, we could say print 1 plus 5. Okay, and it's given us 6. That's great. All right, but that function really isn't doing anything yet. What we can also do with a function is send it information. We can send a function information, right? So we can send it these things called parameters. And all as they are is basically variables that you can add to the function. You can send a function a variable. Okay, so let's say if I have a variable called, I'm just going to call it A, like a maths thing. So let's call A equals 1. Let's just do A for now. So I'm going to send A. Okay, so I've got the variable declared up here, and then the function knows what A is because we've just told it what A is. So when I run this, I'm going to change this one to an A, and it should still add that together as 1 plus 5. Okay, it's given us an error. Attempt to perform arithmetic add on nil and number. Okay, so that's okay. We can have a look at that, see what we did wrong. So let's get rid of the plus and we'll just print A and see what that does. So this is how we troubleshoot. And it's telling us it's nil. So it doesn't know what A is. So what do you think we did wrong? Let's have a look. So we didn't add A down here when we called it. That's basically what we did wrong. But we do have A here. But when we called the function, we didn't send it A. So it doesn't know what A is. Okay, so it only knows, it doesn't read up here. It's only going to use, the function's only going to use the information that you send it. Okay, so we need to send A. Now we're just going to print A again, just for now. See if it works. Yeah, and it's printed 1. So now it knows what A is. Okay, hopefully you can see the output. Move the output up a bit. I don't know how to make the output bigger. Anyway, I'll look for that for the next video. But all right, so let's go back to our script. So great, we've sent it A, and it knows what A is. So let's see if it'll plus now. So let's see if it'll add 5. Yeah, and it did. It added 6. So that's all working. So now we can send it another variable. Okay, and this is why variables are so important in your programming and why you pretty much use them all the time. We're storing, let's store a different number, say 8 into B. So B equals 8. Okay, so now we need to change this, and you just separate them. You can send as many variables as you like to a function. Okay, here I'm going to send 2. You just separate them with a comma. I need to do it here as well, otherwise it won't work. And if I change this to B, it should add A and B. And you can see we get 9. It says 9 there, so that's working. So that's the function. Let's keep going. I want to add this part to this function so it's a bit more meaningful. So let's get rid of, actually we can leave our add numbers function there, and we can add a new function. So let's just clean up our code. We'll leave our locals up the top there and we'll come down. We'll add a new function. This function's going to be change part color or something. Okay. So with the name, I can just come up with any name that I like. Okay, I can call the function whatever I like to do. But it's good practice to try and name it something that kind of describes what the function's going to do. So I'm going to call it change part color. Okay. And again, I'm just going to print it. I'm just going to print inside change part color function. Okay, I just want to make sure that I can get there before I start doing too much. So to call it, we just need to literally just copy that and put it underneath it. Let's check. Inside change part function. And you can see the other one still runs as well. So in programming, the computer basically reads line by line. So it'll start at line 1 and then go down through your code until it processes each line. So this is kind of important because let's just test. If I call this function, like if I put that up there before I've kind of declared the function, it gives me this line underneath which says there's an error. Okay, so it doesn't know what that is. So the order of your program does matter. We have to make sure with our functions that we've kind of declared them above where we want to call them. So we've got to declare them first, set them up first, basically, and then we can call them underneath. So your script should be do all your local variables, do all your functions, and then start doing what you want to do with calling the functions and things. Okay, so, all right. So what do we want to do with this change part color? We want to, so we got inside okay, that worked. So now we want to actually change the part color. So we probably need to send it a part. Okay, so we've got a part up here that we saved in a variable. So I'm going to put that in there. Okay, and I want to probably send it a color as well. So I need a variable called color. So what I'm going to do is, instead of this, I'm going to say local red. So I've made a variable called red, and it's equal to the color, which was red. Okay, just ignore this line for now. Okay, so it knows that that's red, so I'm going to send red to this function. Okay, and then inside the function, I'm going to say my part, well actually, we're just going to make this a different name, right? I'm just going to make it part, just so you can see that it's working. Okay, so I'm going to say part dot, what was it, color equals red, right? So that's only going to work inside this function. That line of code will never work out here because it doesn't know what part is, and it doesn't know, well, like it doesn't know what red is, right? See the underline? So it'll never work out there. It's only going to work inside this function because I'm sending it a part and I'm sending it a color. Okay, that probably should be color. Okay, so this is a good way to kind of think of how to structure your function on what your functions actually try to do. So that should be color. Okay, now with our change part color, when we call it, we want to send it a part and a color. So now we can use my part, because that's the part we want to send. And now we can use the red, because that's the color we want to send. Okay, so if we do play that, it's probably still going to be red. So we'll probably just change the color in a sec, just so we can see if that's working. So it is red. So let's add a new color. Let's say blue. Right? Was it color 3 dot from? So blue was the last one. So I'd say I need the 255 on the last one. Now if I play that, that's not going to work because I'm still sending red to the function. So I need to send blue. And there we go. So that's sent blue. So what else can we do? We can call this function again. We can call this function multiple times in our script. Okay? And we can change it to red. But what's going to happen is it's going to, because it's going line by line, it's quickly going to change it to blue and then change it to red almost instantly because that's how the program works. It's just going to change it straight to blue. Okay, was it red? Was it? Sorry, whatever the last one was. Yeah, red. So we can use a wait here. Let's have a look. So there's a wait command in Roblox. We can wait, and you give it a number, and that is going to wait 3 seconds. And so this is what they call a built-in function. It's already built into the Roblox code. Okay, kind of like the print command when we printed. So wait will just automatically wait 3 seconds because it's already built in. So what should happen is it's going to change it to blue and then change it to red. Oh, it didn't work. It just changed it straight to red. Okay, so let's check. We've got our blue, we've got our red. We've sent blue and then red. Maybe we need to wait a bit longer. There's a few seconds there when the screen's loading. Yeah, see? And there it changes to red. So we might just wait even longer. Just wait 9 seconds because the screen was loading and it's going to kind of wait for it to load. So it's blue. And now it changed to red. So there you go. That's pretty cool. So this is what functions allow you to do, right? We've actually called the function twice, which is good because in your game, you might want to click this and you might want to change it to red or you might want to change it to blue or walk over it or something. It might change color and we could do plenty of other things. This is just one example of what you can do with a function. So well, that's 22 minutes, I guess, so that's probably enough for today. So let's recap. The function must be declared, well, sorry, let's hit the wrong button. The function must be declared before you try and call it. So remember, if we try and call it above it, it's basically going to break. It's not going to work because it doesn't know about it yet. Okay, so nothing's going to happen. It's going to throw an error, and it's not going to work. So it needs to be underneath. Okay. Local by part. All right. So that will do today. In the next video, we're going to look at if statements and basically start to get into the core of programming. So, like if A equals 1, then we're going to change the part color to blue. If A equals a different color, we might change the part color to a different color. So I can give you a quick example of that now, and then I'll explain that in the next video if you like. So what we can do, so an if statement starts out like this. If let's send just going to have a little think what we can do. Send a different variable to this function so we can check. I'm just going to say value. Okay, I'm going to say if value equals 1, then, so that's our if statement block, okay? So if something and our condition, what it's going to equal to, then we're going to do something, and then it's ending. So if it does equal that, I want to change the part color. Okay. So when we call our function now, just going to get rid of one of them. When I call it, I'm going to send it A, and A equals 1. So when it calls this, the part goes into there, the blue goes into color, the A goes into value. So value will equal 1 because A equals 1. Okay, so this is going to be true. So value is going to be equal to 1, and it's going to want to change the part color to the color that we sent it, which was blue. So let's check. And it did. So let's quickly change that to something else. And so you have if-else statements, right? If something happens, do this, else do that, right? Else part color equals, and we're going to need something else. I'm going to say color 1. That's a bit dangerous. That's all right. Color 2. So I'm going to send an extra variable here again, or parameter, right? Color, let's send it a color which is okay, so we've got blue and red, so let's send it red. Okay, so we're sending, just zoom out a little bit. Okay, so we're sending a part to there, we're sending red into color 1, we're sending blue into color 2, and A is the value. Okay, so if A equals 1, it's going to set it to color 1, which was red. So let's check. Yep. And so let's do this again where we wait. Now we're going to send it a different value on the end. We'll send it B, right? Or we can just add a number here. We can just add a different value if we want. We don't always have to send variables. We can send numbers, or we can send strings. Remember we talked about strings in the last video, where you can send it a string. So I'm just going to send it 10, and this is going to be like not true, right? It's not going to want to change it to this. It's going to be the else bit that fires. So it's going to change the part color to 2, which was blue. Okay, so first I'm calling it here, and it's going to be true. It's going to call it. It's going to change it to red, and then it's going to be false, or else it's going to change it to blue. All right, let's try. There we go. Okay, we'll leave it there. That's probably a lot to take in. But that's creating your functions. Try that. Give it a try. Go through it. Try and get it to work. Have a play with it. This is how you're going to learn the most, is just experimenting and trying to send values, see when it breaks, see when it works. And this becomes really useful because in a game, even though we're only changing a part color here, it's your functions can become a bit more complex and do. They're basically designed to do one simple thing, right? Such as change a part color. So whenever you change a part color, you just send it these 4 values, and it's going to do that. Okay. All right, guys. I'll see you in the next one.